Alright, welcome back. This will be a short lesson on being able to evaluate expressions containing variables by substituting numbers for the variables. And basically, that's your objective. I have it written here, so you can write that in your notes. And let's get started. Well, first we have some vocabulary that you will be required to know. And the first one that comes to mind is variables. And variables are simply letters that represent a value. And common variables that you'll see in math are x, y, sometimes you'll have a, m, you'll see that variable, sometimes for mass, I guess. L, w, and h, you can probably guess what those variables would represent. And so really you could use any letter, or sometimes even symbols even. But these are some typical ones that you may see. So those are variables, and we just, again, use those in expressions, and they represent a number that, or sometimes a series of numbers that we will hopefully find later. An equation is an equation contains an equals sign, hence the name equation, and the left should represent the same value as the right. So for example, I have 5 plus x equals 9. This would be an equation because it has an equal sign in there. And then somehow the left side of the equal sign, the 5 plus x, we have to make it equal the right side, which in this case is 9. And so most of you guys can figure out that in this case the variable x would be equal to 4, and that's how we would solve that. And sometimes you'll see an expression. A lot of students get these two things mixed up, equations and expressions. But often expressions, they do contain numbers, variables, and operations, but they're not always set as an equation. So a real quick example of that would be maybe 5x plus, let's just say 5x plus 6x, and we're not quite there yet. But if we were to evaluate this, we would know that 5x plus 6x, that would eventually give us 11x. So maybe that would be an example of something like that. And then this isn't really a vocabulary word, but this is the main way what we're talking about in this lesson, and that's substitution. And to use substitution to evaluate an expression, first you'll want to replace or substitute the variable with a number. I just made the symbol for number there. And after you do that, you'd always want to simplify by performing the operations. So I'm going to go ahead and here's where you would put your examples and your notes, but I'm going to use the whiteboard for this. Again, what you should do is write examples here on your cue or clue side of your Cornell notes, and then here you should write the following examples that I'm going to show you. So let's do a few of those. When we're substituting, sometimes they will tell us what x is in this case. So we're going to say that x equals 4, and now if we already know that x equals 4, if we have the problem 2 plus x, and it says to evaluate, if x equals 4, evaluate the expression 2 plus x, well, we simply substitute, because x equals 4, we substitute 4 in for x. So we rewrite this as 2 plus 4, and then we know that that will give us 6. Let's do another one. We'll just, for these examples, we'll just always assume that x equals 4. So here we have x divided by 36. And if we wanted to do x divided by 36, and we know that x equals 4, we will put 4 in for x, make that over 36, and then we'll solve that to get, maybe just to save space, we'll do it this way, 1 over 9. That's what that simplifies to. Now let's see. How about if we say evaluate the expression if A equals 10, and we will say the expression is 50 divided by A. So in this case, instead of having x and equaling 4, we'll have A equal to 10. So that gives us 50 divided by, we'll substitute 10 in for A. Sorry. And then 50 divided by 10 simplifies to 5. And last one, again, we'll have A equal to 10, and we will say, how about A minus 7? And so if we put 10 in for A, we get 10 minus 7, and that equals to 3. So that would be our answer for here. I'll just circle those other ones in. Okay, so there are a few examples for you. Show them one more time. And so what can we conclude from this lesson? Well, to summarize, to simplify an expression, you simply replace the variable with a number and solve and simplify. So that's all there is to it. Thank you guys for watching.